Okay. So today we have with us Karishma Agrawal, and she has more than 5 years of experience in mobile app development, and especially in Android. And currently, she is a senior SD at MResult, and no doubt her journey is really inspiring. And without wasting any time, so hey developers, let's get started. So welcome, ma'am, to our show, and thank you for coming here first of all. And would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you, Satam, for inviting me. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, as you know, my name is Karishma Agrawal. I carry more than 5 year experience. It's almost 6 years completed. During my journey, I've worked in four different companies, and I'm basically from Jaipur, so I passed out from JCRC college, and then I joined one company in Jaipur only. The name was DeCurtis. It was basically a cruise marketing company. So we
Okay.
were developing an app for the cruises where users are traveling. The second company, then I moved to the Bangalore after 2.5 years, and then I joined CoWrks. So CoWrks is basically a premium co-working space providing company.
Okay.
My third company was HealthifyMe. So HealthifyMe, as we all know, health and fitness app. So I was working there for 2.5 years, and now for from last 1 year, I'm working with Amazon. So that's about my journey.
Oh, really cool. Sorry for interrupting. And so that was really cool. So what I want to learn next, that really interested I am in that what influences you most in the world of Android, and why you choose Android at your beginning days of your journey.
Okay, so in the beginning, when I was just passing out from the college, we all need to do internship when you are in the fourth year of your engineering or third year, at the end of third year of engineering. So we all were deciding the field or the project in which we should do the internship. And then I joined one company. It was a very
Okay.
small startup. So we joined as Android interns and we started learning Android from there, from scratch. And when I started learning about it, it excited me because this was a new technology that time. Like Android smartphone came when just 4 or 3 years back, and then we were just kind of getting used to smartphones, and everyone got addicted. Then I wanted
Okay.
to know ki why people are using it and how do we create something which can make people more addicted to it, right? So that's how I thought ki I should learn Android. So I did internship, but when you're from college, matlab, what happens? The companies just comes for placements, and you don't have anything in your hand to decide ki which technology
Yeah,
you want to work on because they are
exactly.
hiring in bulk, and then they can provide you any type of work which they will train you on, and then you have to work on that. But luckily, I got selected as an Android developer only, and I started my journey with Android. So that was one thing. Second thing, as you ask me, what is exciting in Android? So there are different in Android, right?
Hmm.
There is a UI part, UI UX, which is visible to the user, where user is interacting to it. The second part is the business logic, which you are writing, which can increase or decrease the app performance. Then there is third part regarding if you want to integrate something with ML or GraphQL, then a separate thing. So when I was working with Android, I was too much interested in designing, I'll say animations on Android phones. So if user is using the Android phone, they are seeing very cool stuff like animation, ki how the page is scrolling up, how the bars are moving, or how the card is flipping. So that was very exciting. So I started learning more and more about that.
Oh, really cool. Actually, that animation thing is really exciting, and the maths, physics, every concepts actually requires there. So I'm
Exactly,
recently,
yeah.
yeah,
When you're reading
please.
it, you want to know about the metrics as well, ki how the transformation
Yeah,
happens.
exactly,
Then you get to know ki whatever you learn in your engineering line metrics or derivation, that is something which has been applied there. So it's very interesting to relate your math skills with
exactly.
graphics. Yeah.
If someone loves maths, he should definitely explore that animation thing. That I believe that. So yeah. So from your junior Android developer journey to your now you are a senior Android developer, you are a team lead, also a project manager. So how was your growing stages, and how your thought process now from then, that you can suggest that what challenges you have faced till now in your journey, that you, if you want to share
Okay,
that.
so when I just started working as junior Android developer, I'll say it was very difficult
Hmm.
because there is a lot in the market to learn. Like the for the Android, the learning curve is like exponential. Continuously you have to learn. And as soon as you cover the area or the things which in the past got released, there will be something new which you have to learn again. So in the beginning, it was very hard, as well as when you're working with the startup, what happens now, things change very suddenly. Like
Hmm.
today you are working on something, next day you'll work on something. So there is no time to learn. What you have to do is whatever you know, just apply that, apply that, apply
Hmm.
that. So in the beginning, it was difficult, but always remember one thing: there is nothing like impossible.
Yeah.
Anything is achievable, everything is achievable, right? So just focus on that thing. When you are doing on working on any task, you will feel that this is not happening, how should I do it, or this is very difficult. But at the end, remember, if you are sitting on your chair for 3 to 4 hours, it is gonna happen. So just sit on the chair and think about it. If you are giving time to a problem, the problem will solve itself.
That's true. Uh, so, ma'am, the next thing is that now you are a senior SD now. So, if someone is his or her mid of his or her career, if someone, so how he or she should start beginning his preparation, and what thought process he or she should prepare for, and what kind of mentality he should to get the senior roles, and also
Okay.
what maybe the preparation strategy, I can say.
Okay, so as my experience, I'll say ki suppose you are working in a company now, you are working on a junior level position right now, you
Mm-hmm,
want to move.
mm-hmm.
There are few steps. The
Okay.
first step is whatever work you are doing, just don't think as your task, but think as ki this product which you are building or the task which you are building is gonna benefit a user.
Hmm.
So how user is gonna see it? Like suppose if I was working in HealthifyMe, we are creating different set of features for user. So suppose there is one where user has to track their weight. Now, if I just think it as a task, then whatever the requirement the project manager got me, I'm just working on that. But if I think it as a user,
Hmm.
ki how it is going to benefit a user, then I can take it to the next level. And I might have some suggestions which can improve the app more, right? So when the first ladder is think as your consumer, not as a developer. When you start thinking as a consumer, you will build a product which is completable and helpful to the user.
Hmm.
Second thing, when you are helping the user, you will definitely grow, and the company will see key how and what kind of knowledge you are putting in the product. The second thing is you need to be up to date regarding all the technologies which are coming in the market. So there are so many things you can't learn everything, but what
Exactly.
you have to know is you have to know each and every word. Like suppose when you are designing a UI, you don't know what chip is, then
Hmm.
how will you know you can use it, right? If we talk about data structure, then people say ki data structure is very hard and we don't want to use it. But until now, unless you don't know ki you should use linked list instead of array list, or you should use tree map instead of hash map, then you will not apply that knowledge in your code.
Hmm.
And these are the small things which takes you from junior level developer to senior level developer, because they think about ki how a single byte can increase the performance of your app.
So, ma'am, in the same context, I want to ask another question. That apart from Android, if someone doing someone wants a senior role on Android, so apart from Android, what are the other topics he or she should focus on, like design patterns, or system design, or what kind of things, data structures?
So obviously, this I guess this is all comes in Android as well, because
Mm-hmm.
just knowing Android is not enough. You should know all the design patterns as well. Ki
Mm-hmm.
how can you design an architecture? So if I say in my journey, first data structure is very important. You should know how to write algos. You should be
Okay.
very sharp at it. You should also try solving some puzzles, because puzzles just keep your brain active. And when that
Okay.
it is active, then you can apply more and more things. The third thing is you should also observe user behaviors. Ki how user is hooking to the app, what additional features we can add, which is making
Mm-hmm.
user hooked to the app. Okay. Then you should learn about different architecture and pattern. The
Mm-hmm.
fourth thing is you should also learn about backend.
Okay.
In Android, what happens now? Normally, you are just getting the data from backend, but
Mm-hmm.
you should also know ki how the data gets to be tested, how it is getting designed, and you should have UI UX little bit experience regarding UI UX as well, so you can provide feedbacks key what is better for user interface, which we should implement, what kind of animation we should implement, and then but the one most important thing is your communication skills. That should
Okay.
also be, because the developer is not the only one who is coding. The coding
Mm-hmm.
comes when you are at the junior level or medium level, but when you want to improve a want to reach a higher ladder, you should
Mm-hmm.
also know ki how to communicate with the clients, how to communicate with the project manager, how to communicate with the engineering manager, and then you are telling what your team is doing, what you are doing for the team, or with what kind of product you are thinking to build. Then only you can share your thought process with them and make them understand and negotiate with the team. Because what happens now when you are working in startup, project manager will say something which you have to implement, but suppose that is going to take time to
Mm-hmm.
create a quality product. So you should know how to communicate and how to manipulate them to ask for what you need.
True. Okay. That's great understanding for sure. And now I am coming to the point that if someone just starting his or her Android journey, he just beginner or just started. So what should be the thought process or what should be the preparation strategy he or she should have to get a minimum job? First of all, for landing a job or internship. What should be the strategy? And you,
Okay,
if you
so
guides.
in the market right now, whether if anyone hires for Android development and they are hiring for a fresher,
Mm-hmm.
there are so many chances that they might not ask you any Android question as well, because they know that you don't have any experience until unless you have done any internship beforehand. But if you're fresher, they will probably ask you just about data structure questions, a little bit
Okay.
of Java, data structure, and basic of how to use the IDE. IDE means Android Studio or Eclipse,
Mm-hmm.
if you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So in data structure, you should know all the data types. Like you should know array list, linked list, tree, hash map, hash set, or graph, trees, and different algorithms like dynamic programming, backtracking. You should know basics about these. You should
Okay.
know the comparison, ki which one is better or which one we should use in which situation. Then you should also solve some hacker rank question or lead code questions, that is necessary. Then you should know about few object-oriented programming thing, like what is static keyword, what is final keyword, what is overloading, overriding, these kind of things. So,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you visit any website,
That
just
means
write
the oops concepts you were saying.
yeah, exactly. Just
Okay.
write top 100 interview questions for
Mm-hmm.
freshers. You will get
Mm-hmm.
a list of it. So just prepare for those. And when you are preparing, think about it ki you are not just reading the content, but you should
Mm-hmm.
also understand. Because if in the DSA, if you are not understanding the
Mm-hmm.
concept, then you're not able to solve bigger problems, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing, you should know how to use Android Studio, what debugging is, how you run, build,
Mm-hmm.
what is manifest file, what is activity, what is fragment, what is examine. These basic things, if you know, then you will be able to get a job anywhere.
Uh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am. So next thing I want to ask that the jetpack compose thing had have just arrived, and industry the Android developers are just crazy are there for learning jetpack compose. And so as you know the transition from XML to jetpack compose in a as you are in a senior post, so what your suggestion that if someone starting with Android, so he or she should learn XML first or Jetpack Compose first, or how one should look on Jetpack Compose that because it may take some time to dominate the market by Jetpack Compose. So what should be the approach on Jetpack Compose?
So you are totally right in that sense ki what should be the priority, because Compose can't take over the market right now. There are
Exactly.
some few companies who might be working on Compose, because there is it's a fast growing market. Everyone wants to deliver that product as soon as possible. Everyone wants user to be using their product.
Mhm.
So XML should be priority, but you should also focus on what's the new thing which is coming in the market. So now if we talk about Compose, we should know ki what are the benefits of Compose. What
Okay.
I do is whenever there is a new technology coming in the market, I just read about it a little bit. Ki what is it? What's the benefit of it? Then I wait for other community to use it. Once the community starts using it, they will tell more pros and cons. Like when Kotlin came into the market, people were skeptical कि we should use it or not, because there is always something new which Android is releasing continuously, and you can't get your hands dirty on everything. You have
Exactly.
to pick something which is gonna be useful for you, right? So first observe कि how it's going, how people are using it, is it providing performance benefits or not, if it's time consuming to write or not, if this XML is better than this or not. But the Compose is multi-platform supportable, so
Mhm.
that's the main reason why Compose came in the market, as well as the performance is better than XML. So you should focus on those pros, but you should also focus on ki what your product needs right now, right?
Yeah, it means totally product oriented. That what is my requirement? I should learn that tech stack on hand. Uh,
Other you should learn that, as well as you should keep updating yourself,
yeah.
practice it. Once you are perfect in that and you think you can write it in a lesser time, then
Mhm.
you should apply it in your product.
Okay. Okay. Ma'am, one thing that you have also explored that iOS development, and also you have written many blogs on web technologies, that you initially started with Android. Then how you explored all these things just for project purpose or for self exploration? And if someone wants, then how he or she should can do that.
Okay, so initially what happened, na, ki I was working with Android and then I had some free time because my project on which I was working was finished. It
Hmm.
was just in release phase. So I started learning a new technology, which was React Native. So
Okay.
that was the time I started learning it. But what happened, na, until or unless you are not applying your knowledge to some use, it will not last.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that
True.
happened with me. So I started learning it, then I forgot. Then when I joined HealthifyMe, there was one React Native project as well. So that time again I started learning and I applied my knowledge there. I worked on that React Native product. So that's how I know it. So the basic thing is ki whenever you are starting learning something, you should always apply it, like create projects.
Hmm.
Don't hesitate to create a project, right? What happens most of the time, people are just learning things. Like I learn about dependence injection, but I just read the theory. I am not applying it somewhere. Then I am
Hmm.
not gonna perfectly know ki what's the use of it. So you should always apply your knowledge in experimental purposes, right? The same way with the iOS, what happened? Ki I was working in this MResult where there was a requirement ki I needed to work on iOS as well as Android at the same time. So that's how I started learning it. But yeah, whenever you think you have some extra time in your hand, always
Okay.
learn new technology because it's a need. But right now, suppose if I'm 6 year experience, I just know Android, then it is not gonna make sense. I
Hmm.
have to
Hmm.
be multi-platform supportable, right? Like they are making Android supporting Kotlin, which is a
Hmm. Hmm.
multi-platform supportable. The same way, I have to be that where I know iOS, I know a little bit about backend, I have to know a little bit about Android, everything. Full stack developer, I'd say.
I think that also helps you to lead your team too. So
Exactly.
because different developers are there and you have to maintain all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but right now actually I'm not leading a team, matlab
Okay.
not the multi-platform team. I'm just leading Android.
Okay. Okay. That in Android world, there are also the Android is also a vast thing. So if someone want to learn or want to explore different things on Android, he or she can't do that because no one is there know everything in Android. So how much things we should learn or how much thing we don't and how much thing we should deep dive into that. So this thing how we can justify that on a
So I
Android.
guess it depends on your interest to interest, because everything that's there in the market you
Mhm.
can use. It's not like that ki you can't use it. Like people say ki there is suppose ML right now. What happens is ki most of the company you are just using Android native, but you are not thinking about what is machine learning and how we can apply it.
Mhm.
But once you read it, you will know how it can be used, right? Until unless you don't know ki there is something like this available in the market, you will not know how to use it.
Mhm.
So whenever you get time, whatever you read, whatever you feel interested in, just read it and then apply that knowledge. right? But everything is usable. It's not like that ki there is just certain part of Android which you should learn and certain part which you should not focus on. That's
Okay.
not the thing. But if you have time, if you are curious, then you have to read, right? Because the curiosity is something which motivates you to read more things,
Yeah.
learn more things, and apply the knowledge.
Yeah. That's true. Uh, Okay, so ma'am, coming to our next question, that what is your long-term goal on Android or with your career? That now you are a senior developer and with Android, and you have also explored so many tech apart from Android. So, what is your long-term vision that you want to explore more or anything, community contribution?
Okay, yeah. So the one thing which I am very interested in is content writing regarding Android or any technology.
Okay.
So that's what I want. I want to choose my career in that direction. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm focusing on my work as well as I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to increase my knowledge, get hands on technology. At the same time, I'm trying to write the content. So what is happening? Suppose I learned about something today, then I'll think ki there might be other person who also wants to know about it. So I struggled to learn this thing. So
Mm-hmm.
how can I help them to learn this thing, right? So that's how I started writing blogs as well. Suppose I was struggling with deep linking, what deep linking is, and then I got the content from four or five platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Now it took time for me to understand and wrap up everything in one plate and then use it. So I was thinking how I can help them. So I started writing blog. The same way, right now what I'm doing is I'm increasing my knowledge by reading more and more and more stuff, then helping the community to build to learn from me ki suppose if there are four or five things which were difficult, I'll just make one paper for
Coding.
them and they can use it. So that's my long term goal, as well as just learn multiple technology. I want to learn backend as well, ki how I can create API.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm building an app from scratch just by one individual person, then I
Mm-hmm.
can do everything. I don't have to be dependent on anyone else.
Exactly. That's actually the magic happens when someone contribute to community and people get benefited from that. So that's why I think we all should do the community contribution, as ma'am said. So really great effort, ma'am. So ma'am, coming to our last question, very last question, that is, any tips you want to share for us aspiring Android developers or who loves Android, and that what we can do, what we can't do, or what we should do, what we should not do, and also apart from Android, how we can think beyond.
Okay, so the one main thing which I always keep in mind is consistency is the key of success. So if you are consistent for something, you will achieve that once, right? So if you want to learn Android, if you want to read a book, if you want to learn something new, like you want to be a barista, you want to learn dance, you have to be consistent. If you want to do
Yeah.
exercise, right? At least give half an hour a day for that thing which you really want to do, but your mind is not allowing you, because we are the one who create boundaries, no one else.
Procrastination.
So, yeah, exactly. So don't create boundaries in your mind. Start small, but continuously keep on doing it, and then
Hmm.
increase the time limit for that particular thing, right?
Okay.
Second thing which I'll say is ki I read a story where there was a person who was building products, right? So he built a product, it failed. He applied for a job, he failed. He applied for the next job, he failed. Then he created another product, he failed. Thousand times he failed. And then the next time when he tried, he succeeded and created a company and earned millions. So what we learn is ki thousand times you are gonna break, thousand times you are gonna fail, but those thousand times you are gonna learn something new as well.
Yeah.
So whenever you fail, just don't think it as a failure, but think it as ki this is gonna be a step which is gonna help me to win at the end, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
We'll keep it that mind. And thank you, ma'am, for coming here. Thank you for giving your time, and thank you so much again for coming. And those of you still listening till now, thank you very much for your time too. And here I will share all the links, all the social handles of Karishma ma'am to the description. And if ma'am wants to share something on about her blogs, I also put that on the description. You can check that from there, and you also can connect with ma'am. She is really active on LinkedIn. So yeah, thank you. Good night.